Hey guys, I wanted to give my 2 cents about, hope you guys are doing well today, everyone who's watching this video. I wanted to give my 2 cents about riding a street bike as a beginner and the things that I don't know, it's, that kind of gave me a bit of anxiety. I'm riding a street bike now, and a pretty quick street bike, a 2023. I just don't even want to say what kind it is on here, but and it's a fast street bike. I didn't buy it for that reason, but I just want to tell you the things that I dealt with, and I don't know, I guess how I overcame them. And my story may not reflect a lot of people, because I don't know if you can see this channel, I suffer with a lot of pain, like a lot of pain, like the pain suicide diseases, not just one either. So it is not easy for me to do. I drove when I was, like, I'm in my mid 40s, I'm almost 46, and in my late teens and I don't know, maybe 18 to 23, I did drive. I never had my own car, and I never could afford it. And then I lost my license for medical reasons, but because I got very sick physically for a number of years, couldn't walk, couldn't do those types of things. So, so I know how to drive, and I know how to drive, just as good as most people. And when I start to get better, I always had that in me, like, I just want my own transportation, right? I just want my own transportation. And so I've finally worked myself into a place. I mean, for a number of years now, I just didn't decide to go back for my license. Spoke to my doctor, got my license back. Not back, but I went and I did I'm in Ontario, so I did my G1 and passed that. And then it was like a month after that, I just remember leaving after doing my G1 saying, well, if I can get my G1, I can get my M1, why not? And I started thinking, well, I don't really have the money to afford a car. I probably could, but it would just probably wipe me out because of insurance and everything, and it's expensive where I live. And where I live, by the way, motorcycle insurance is the most expensive in the world. There is no place more expensive than Ontario for motorcycle insurance. But if you get yourself into a proper position, which I'll talk about. So I'm like, well, I have enough to buy a motorcycle. I just thought, just go for it, right? Just do it. And I forget what the exact process was, because it all happened so quick. I'm like, I'm gonna buy a bike, and it was nearing the end of the year. As you can see, it's almost November, so I bought a bike, I don't know when it was, July. So I bought that, and I signed up I totally recommend doing this, because if you don't, you're gonna get hit really hard with insurance, and it just makes sense to do an MSF course, motorcycle safety course. And I'll just tell you the ins and outs of where I live and what you're going to face. I remember calling, I'm going to talk about riding the bike, but this is valuable information, because there's a lot of articles out there speaking against what I'm saying, but I managed to do it anyway. So what I mean is insurance. So all around the same time I got my bike, and then I remember I phoned Ottawa Good Time Center, and they're like, the woman there said, they probably all ride, right? And she said, good luck getting into a training course, because it's going to be the training course that they're going to insure you. Where I live, you have to get your M1. So 20 years ago, when I remember my brother had a Ninja 636 Monster. ZX, I don't know, I forget the exact number, but he didn't understand everything I had to go through, because back then, where I live, you get your M1 and they let you ride around. You get insured, right? It makes sense because there's restrictions. You don't ride on anything above 80 kilometers an hour, right? You don't go at night. You have restrictions like a G1, basically. And by the way, if you get your M2, you can drive G1. Do you know that? If you pass your M2, you immediately get a G1 class license. I don't know if they give you a card. I went to Smiths Falls and they told me that they were giving out cards. So in either case, it doesn't matter. If you hold an M2, you can drive G1 class, but those are very restricted, right? The woman said you're not going to get into anything because, it's nearing the end of the year. Everyone signed up for these courses. There's so many people. I'm like, oh no, I really want to ride a bike. Why do they only have a few places that do motorcycle safety? It doesn't make sense. It's like only government only. So for a city of over 1 million people. And so, here's one thing that I would give you advice on. Don't listen to what people say. Go look for yourself. Okay? So she said that, and no sooner than just a couple hours later, I got into a safety course, a good one. Actually, it was Riders Institute, and there were 8 spots left for the entire year. I was like, wow. I'm looking at it. I'm like, it's like maybe under $500, and I'm like, just staring at it, and I know I have a lot of pain. This is a 2-day course, 18 hours, 9 hours and 9 hours. That could really kill my body. My back's out. I have all these pain diseases. And so, but if I don't do this, maybe I won't get insured. My rates won't go low. So I just like, if I pay for this, I have to go. So I just did it. And, that's the way you build confidence. That's the type of thing. And so by doing that, then I started to shop around for insurance. And it was like, you can get I read a lot of articles, I'll tell you. I read a lot of articles. I'm going to check my sound settings on here. I should always do that before this because it might turn out low. I'm going to do a bike video today. Pardon me a sec. I have a GoPro and all the settings, all the things. I have like a GoPro 9 and all the different, there's like 50 different pieces and none of them are good. So I had to buy this. This will stick onto my helmet. So to hold the GoPro. So I get that and I start looking around. And if you have an M1, they will insure you at like TD Insurance or something, and the rates are like $5,000 a year. Think about that. That's Ontario. It's because of all the accidents and because of all the idiots out there who want to race. They give a really bad name. I'm not like that. Doesn't mean I don't like fast speeds or whatever, but those types of things are for the track. But what was next? So finally I found a place that said, I will recommend you to this person. And thank God they did. The guy said, he started asking me questions like, are you signed up for a safety course? And I'm like, yes. And he said, based on that, I will insure you 1 month ahead of time to give you 1 month of practice. I'm like, oh man, that's excellent. If you do it, it'll cost this much, whatever. I'm not going to say what it costs for insurance per year, but it's good and it's annual. Okay, you don't pay. The times of paying by month are gone. You have to pay by year. I can drive in the winter if I want, if there's a good day, right? And that's a good thing. Yeah, just give me another sec here. I'm eating as I'm doing this, so. So they recommend, I mean, at an MSF, just a safety course, that you can get private lessons too, but just because you get private lessons, you have to pass this course. If you sign up for an MSF course, wherever you live, they teach you. I think it's pretty thorough. I think it really is, and it's physically demanding. It is. At the end of those 2 days, they test you, and so for me, they did 8 different tests, and they showed us all the tests ahead of time, right? And I made sure I was in like the middle of the line of 20 people to watch them all do it before I did it. The only problem I had was in this course was that if you don't have the best eyes, my eyes aren't bad, but I'm colorblind, and just like the pylons and stuff, they were so low, they weren't very visible, and it was like chalk on the pavement. They could have done a little better than that. And I understand that they say you hit these things, but you could still be taller and still be okay. But anyways, I thought it was pretty thorough. The people were good, and so I passed. So I'm going to talk about what I faced, and by riding a month ahead, giving me a month, especially on a street bike, right? It was exactly what I needed. I wouldn't have wanted to walk in that course without having some experience, and I didn't have any experience before. And they say before you go on the course, if you don't know how to ride a bike and balance on a bike, don't come. And I wouldn't suggest you do if you don't. And I was always a mountain biker, extreme mountain biking. I like, in the woods, in the forest, and in the streets. So that just felt like natural to me. The balance part, and turning corners and all that type of stuff. So I felt grateful I knew that. I would say this. I made this mistake, and I did. Most people are going to drop their bike. I dropped my bike by myself in a place I just shouldn't have been. And it was because I didn't have anyone to tell me this. Here's a mistake, okay? I didn't hurt myself or anything. I got away from my bike, but most things happen when you're going at a slow speed. Most accidents, those types of things. So you got to learn to do all your different turning, stopping, and when you're going slow, say under 8 miles an hour, under 10 miles an hour. And so if you're going, and it was my garage here, I wondered how it happened. I couldn't figure out how it happened until later, until I saw a video, because I was specifically looking at what happened. And anyways, if you're going in a straight line, say, okay, and you're rolling along, and you go to turn your handlebars right or left, if you hit your brake while you're turned, that bike will automatically just shoot down on the ground. I don't even think you can stop it. I don't believe you can stop it. And depending on the weight of the bike, but you can look up those videos to see what happens. It's too bad I didn't know that, and I don't. To be honest, people who do this on their own, I don't understand how everyone hasn't been through that. Anyways, so I kind of learned the hard way that way, but everything else was good. I make a recommendation before you go out on the street. Before you go out on the street, do not go alone. Because if you drop your bike and if something happens, you're going to be alone. So it's good to have someone. So that is recommended. And my friend also, who rides bikes, recommended that. So what I did was I asked my dad if he would follow behind in his car, or just follow me, right? Pardon me. Oh, it's my stomach. Just give me a sec. You know, a lot of people are going to be nervous, understandably, because you see these fast street bikes on the road, you hear them, and you know, they are a bit intimidating. So, you know, and I just remember going through all the videos and thinking, like, what is this counter steering? What's this? And I'm not even going to get into that. When you're on the bike, it'll just be completely natural. I just wouldn't even worry about that right now. So, you know, I watch videos of people on their bikes, like, you know, first time on my street bike, whatever type of bike, and they're doing a video the very first time, and like you can see how nervous they are, like just going around the block in like first gear, or afraid to shift into other gears. And you know, my friend said, you know, you got to go to a parking lot. I'll even let's take your bike, go to a parking lot without my insurance. But I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to ruin anything. But I know a lot of people do that because they need practice, right? It kind of sounds stupid, but to not be able to, and then just go to your M2, right? I'm like, well, I wonder if I could ride in first gear all the way to the arena near my home, you know, big parking lot. I would get out in a parking lot, but that's not what I did. So the first time I had my dad there, and so the first issue I faced was, I'm going to have to shift into second gear. What's that going to be like? Because down in my garage, I couldn't. It wasn't a place to shift into second gear, so I hadn't done that yet. And I understood, you know, you look, see, there's videos. You can even look at your specific bike, and you'll probably find something good, likely. So this is what I'm going to say. You know, you might be nervous about all of this. And I mean, I was a tiny bit, but not too much. You know, you have the kind of jitters of getting out to do it. But I promise you, it's not going to turn out like you think. At least most of you. Just learn to get into second gear and then to third gear. Just go into first and then go down to second, and then just go up and down like that, right? There's only so many steps, you know. So you definitely know how to get into first gear, right? And then, you know, you twist the throttle, you say you get up to 10, right? Then you let go, you hold in the clutch, do your gear, let go, and then give it gas. And then it's just, I know there's speeds and stuff, you let these things out, but I just wouldn't worry about that. It's going to come to you. And so for those, it's hard for me to stay in a camera shot because of pain. So I asked my dad to do that for 2 days, about an hour each day. And I caught on. And once I learned to get into second gear, I was like, okay, I can get into third gear. And, but I didn't understand how to downshift properly. And for the first week or so, probably 2 weeks, I was, when I was coming to a stop, when I was coming to a corner, what I did was I was always holding in the clutch. I mean, that's not bad for a beginner, but so this would be one of the things that I did wrong, was you want, when you come to a stop, when you come to a corner, you want to get in the right gear in a corner, right? Shift before you get into that corner. And when you stop, you want to do engine braking. And I didn't understand that for the first while. And I always wanted to, you're going to hear like rev matching and stuff. Don't worry about, and by the way, I did all my research on that. You don't have to rev match. You do not have to rev match. I do know how to do it, but I'm not completely confident in it yet. Like in the MSF course, they taught us how to do it, and but just give me a second. So when you're coming to a stop, or you're coming to a corner where you want to switch into your gear, the proper gear. So say you're coming into a corner and there's no stop sign, it's just like a curve, right? And it looks to be around, you want it to be in third and you're in fifth. Just, pull in your clutch, right? And, let go of the throttle, pull in your clutch, put it down to third, and then let that clutch out slowly, and then you'll hear it like you rev up and go, well, it'll be engine brake, right? And go, like that. And I always wondered, like the corners and the stops, I'm holding in my clutch, and say it's a stop sign, and I'm coming from far, and then I'm in fifth or sixth, and I want to go down to first. I would hold my clutch all the way to the stop sign and put my gears in either when I'm stopped or just before I'm stopped. And I felt frustrated because I wanted that sound. And I believe that sound was only done by rev matching, but that's not true at all. It's just, you just go down gear by gear and then let out the clutch slowly, and then you'll hear that sound. You're going to want to do a lot of starting and stopping, like a ton of it. So if I'm coming to it, if I'm like 100 meters away from a stop sign, right, and I'm in fifth or fourth gear, so I got something stuck in my mouth, and I'm in fifth or fourth gear, and I want to get down to first, and I want those sounds without rev matching, and I'm on the throttle, say I'm just going at a speed, right, and in fourth gear, and I just let go, pull on the clutch, shift the gear, and I wouldn't touch, just keep off of that throttle for the rest of the way to that stop sign. So again, I'll say this. So you're at speed, right? Here's my throttle, right? I'm at speed, and like this, right? So I let go, put in the clutch, put it down to third from fourth, and I don't have my hand on this, I don't have my hand on the brake at all until the end or when I need it. So I shift the gear and I let it out slowly, and you'll hear it go, you'll hear it go down, and then you do it again and then again till you get to first, and then you'll do engine braking, which is healthier for your motorcycle. That's the way it's supposed you're supposed to do it. And I forget what it is, like if you pull in your clutch too much, what it does. I haven't looked too much into that. I just have to think of other things that I went through that might help you. I will do a video today. I'll put that on my helmet. I don't want to make a lot of biking videos, but if you can get your insurance a month ahead by getting that MSF course, sign up for one, man, I would sign up for one. If you're where I am, I'd sign up for as soon as possible because COVID pushed them back. And there's a lot of people trying to get into these. And so, my point is to be able to practice before you even get there and make sure you pass. I didn't really, from the second day, I would say, even the first day that I was finally riding on the street, I felt pretty confident. I really did. Intersection, like I would put myself immediately in intersections and in busy traffic. I was always out in traffic. But I was also riding around on the streets. I wanted to make sure that I got the experience right away. But first, like with my dad, I was going around on streets, right? And I did it long enough that I felt comfortable enough. It just took me about 25 minutes to half an hour before I'm like, I'll get on the street and get gas. Gas, by the way, so I didn't buy this for speed. I didn't buy it. Of course, it looks nice, and that was part of the reason. But it was because I couldn't afford a car, and this was the better outlook. And so it was at like maybe 2 bars to halfway, but there was less than half. And I filled it up. It was like $7. That's exactly why I got it. This is what I think. So I'm 46 in less than a month. There's a lot of people I find who are so prideful, okay? And in the MSF course, these people are really good teachers. They're like, avoid these types of people. Avoid them. They said there's people coming through that course that think they know everything, or even experienced riders who go in who think they know everything. And if you're not willing to listen to people, to learn, then you're going to end up in an accident or something. Or something's going to, like, how are you supposed to learn? There's a lot of people who think they're all that, right? So another reason I put myself out, so where I live, yeah, I could have gone to a parking lot, but I didn't. I'd recommend that for anyone to go to a parking lot. It was just in my case, I just I got enough on residential streets that I felt confident enough to go on the road. And once I got on the road, I got the feel of it, right? And I'm like, okay, well, I can do this. So the dreaded thing, I think, that everyone doesn't want to face, I faced probably in a 2-week period, maybe about 5 different times, stalling in an intersection. And the worst of all, if you're first in line, if you're the first in a line at a traffic light, right, and it stalls, I know it's hard, but just try to keep your composure and don't worry about other people. If you have to, put up your hand to let them know, like stop, because some people will go ahead. I already would have been in some accidents if it wasn't for other people. It wasn't me. It's that they didn't see me. Like going down a road and there's a car parked on the side, and like there's like a truck coming out and it's like blocked. They can't see you. Motorcycles are small, man. So I stalled in the front of the line, and just restart your bike, put it in gear, and go. You don't have to put it in first to get going. You can put it in second and start going. Don't stall it though. What I do is I rev it up a bit first and then let the clutch out slowly and get it going. But what else? I went through something that I felt was really dangerous. Sorry guys, I got to pace. Give me a sec. for most people, the MSF course will be really something they really never forget and enjoy. And like doing slalom courses and all this stuff was great, but I suffered with 4 pain suicide diseases, and it was brutal on my body. But I knew I had to get through it to get my, my automotive motorcycle freedom, right? While I'm also doing my car thing. But what would I say? Obviously keep the rules of the road, like of a motorcycle. Make sure you're in the left track while you're riding, right? When I come to behind somebody, when I'm, like when I'm in a traffic light, I keep to the right side. Why? To give myself a position to get out, leave enough space between me and the person in front. And because, you look in your mirror or you look behind, you see someone coming quick. You want to get out, right? So I leave myself a space, and I make sure I can get out to the right. Usually can't get out to the left. And then when it starts up again, I get back in the left. I'll get back to the intersection thing. I was riding on a major highway after I got my M2 to go get my M2 card. There was a sticker on my license. They have to send me something later, but if you're on an 80 or 100 kilometer road, an hour road, or whatever it is in whatever country you live in, be careful of big rigs, trucks, dump trucks, double trailers especially, because number one, if it's also a windy day, it doesn't matter if it's not a windy day, it's going to suck you in. So when a truck comes, go over to the right. Don't go too far over to the right, but be ready, especially if you're on a lighter bike, which I do have. So there's that. What else would I say? Sorry, I hurt, like my back is hurt. So did this course when my back was out. Or it was just healing, and then it re-aggravated it. So the intersection part, yeah, just give me a sec. If you can find a road near your house that's like abandoned or something, and it's nicely paved, and it runs for 1, 2, 300 kilometers, not kilometers, but 100 meters, just keep going up and down it, shifting up and down. Just practice, start, stop, all that type of stuff. Don't forget to, I don't understand why they design it this way. With the signal, right? That's one. You hit your signal, and then when you go back straight, it doesn't automatically click off, which I don't understand why they don't make a mechanism. I'm sure they do that you can buy, but not factory. So you have to remember to press that in, because you might confuse someone oncoming or even just in front of you. I stalled. This scared me. This did scare me. And I had to react. You have to react fast. You have to learn to have quick reactions. It was a green light. It wasn't an advanced arrow, and you're turning left, right? So the cars are coming at you, right? You're here, and you want to turn left. That's always the worst position to be in, because, I was the first one. I wasn't behind someone, and I wouldn't have. I think that does make it harder. And so the cars are going by. I'm, close to in the middle of the intersection, very close to them passing me. And I don't know. I would say don't turn your wheels left. Don't keep them like that, because if someone hits you from behind, they'll push you right into traffic. I'm not too sure about that, but I would look into that. That's also for cars too, but I had it in second gear, and when I let out the clutch, I probably let it out too quickly, and I stalled right in the middle, and there were cars coming. And you know, you can get into that position where, you know, like almost like you're panicking. We've all been through this. And you're like, I don't know, like my bike's not turning on, like it's like, what's wrong with this bike, right? But it's your fault. Just, you're gonna have to do 360 sweep, right? You're gonna have to look to see that car coming. You're gonna have to pay attention to the car behind you while you're trying to get your bike started. What I had to do, because I felt so like flustered, like that was one thing. I managed to roll it. And all I had to do was hit start. All I had to do was hit start. I think what I was doing, I was trying to get it down into first without starting. But on my bike, I could just start it first anyways. You have to learn all these little things. Yeah, you're going to have to learn that friction zone like really well so you don't stall, right? So you don't stall. Just trying to think if there's anything else I want to say. It's very tough for me to be in a video in the screen with my abdominal pain. So the freedom on a bike is absolutely amazing. I will say that. I mean, I believe in God, so for me, there's nothing greater than God for me. Right next to that, I would say that riding a bike has probably been the most fun thing I've done. It just feels really free. And I just, you know, looking for places that there's a lot of twists and turns. I love that. And so in the MSF course, there was a person ahead of me, there was a person behind me, and we're all going through slalom courses pretty quickly. We had a pretty good class, but like to a point where I realized, like, I'm not trying to say I'm really good, but it felt like I was. Now, and when I left that course, never think you're really good, okay? That's what I'm saying. Don't get that mind about you. You always want to stay safe. That's the whole goal of biking. I mean, you want to have a safe ride. I just lost what I was going to say. I think that's about it anyways, guys. Don't fear. Don't if you don't feel confident, make sure you're just riding around on residential streets in the suburbs or whatever street it is, just gearing up, going down, starting, stopping a lot. Starting and stopping a lot. I would do that for like a week, man, like a week straight. God bless. I wish you guys the best, and I will do a bike video today.